My name is Abel Rangel, and as you can see, I'm a magician, an environmental traveling companions magician to be more precise. And I'm also a youth-led fellow. And as such, it is my duty tonight to be your companion, such as ETC has been for over 84,000 people with disabilities and under-resourced youth. Yeah, clap, go ahead. Side note, they've been doing that for 45 years now. Pretty impressive coming from a guy that's only 17 years old. And you know, it always amazes me how every year they manage to add some sort of magic into each course they do. I don't know exactly how they do it, but every year the ETC family comes together to create adventure, community, and transformation in the lives of over 3,000 participants. Oh, I was expecting like a clap, but okay, all right. Tough crowd. Tonight, I hope to recreate that magic, and I will do so by calling upon the fellows. They each have been on a course, and I should like each one of them to insert a quality that made them successful in their course into this here box. And at the end of it all, actually, I can't tell you, but I can tell you this, it'll be magical. Cool.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sophia Botero, and I was lucky enough to go on the 14-day Young Women course this past summer with ETC. I could have never gained the crucial leadership skills I have today without the obstacles I was encouraged to take on my trip. As a fellow, I'm now able to support others on their trips and truly step up as a leader for myself and for my community every day. Leadership.
Personal transformation. My name is Catherine Oriana, and I participated in ETC's 14-day Young Women's course, knowing that I would have to be independent and self-reliant without my family and friends there to support me. At first, I was terrified. Then, I started bonding with the other girls in my groups, and it didn't feel so scary anymore. During our solo time, I took time to reflect about who I want to be in my future. I began feeling myself transform into a confident, independent young woman, someone who can think and act for herself. I gained the courage, confidence, and enthusiasm to be me. Personal transformation.
Hello, my name is Kenzo Alwa, and I participated in ETC's Access to Adventure course. My symbol is a candle in the shape of a heart, which symbolizes support, trust, and honesty, which all happens in council. Council is a daily practice where we share our thoughts and our voice with openness and vulnerability. At first, this is difficult to do, but as time goes on, it gets easier. We also shared our life stories in council. I could relate to and felt moved by my peers' life challenges. I learned not only to speak from my heart, but to listen from it as well. I now do council every Friday night at home and use these skills with my family. Communication from the heart.
Hello, my name is Alan Quevedo Hoot. Before my trip, I knew that nature existed and that I should protect it. But I didn't have a personal connection to it, so it wasn't a priority in my life. During my ATC trip, I hated being outside, and I craved the comfort of, my home. Then, on an early evening while we were backpacking, I stood on a rock and took in the deep, dark green of the trees around me, the fast blue river passing me by, and the sun turning the sky colors of purple and pink, like my hair. This gave me a deeper sense of connection with nature and has inspired me to want to preserve it in my daily life. Environmental awareness.
Inclusive community. During my course, I met people from all walks of life. girls who came from Mexico, Colombia, Asia, girls that came from different cultural origins and upbringings. Through the many conversations and challenges that we faced together, I was able to make 10 new, sorry. I was able to connect deeply with 10 interesting, powerful young women. I learned that our differences can provide new and unique ways to support each other, making our group stronger than the sum of its individuals. Never have I been part of such a loving community where I felt so supported and accepted to be me. Inclusive community.
Challenging adventures. Hi, everyone. My name is Leo Delanto. Prior to my 21-day youth lead course, I wasn't confident in social settings, especially around new people. I was extremely nervous to be with 11 strangers for 3 weeks. I was also anxious about the water aspect. I could hardly swim, and 2 out of 3 weeks I was going to be on water. This terrified me. But bonding with my cohorts gave me confidence and comfort. This has emboldened me to try out new things. And I continue to challenge myself with outdoor pursuits and continue to push myself beyond my physical and emotional comfort zones. Challenging adventures.
Gratitude. My name is Mavis, and while on ETC's 14-day Access to Adventure course, I missed my family and friends more than I could have ever imagined. But that separation allowed me to recognize the beauty around me, like the calming waters or the beautiful beaches nearby. I also realized that I took a lot of things for granted back at home, such as a warm bed or a hot shower. At the same time, I began feeling a deep gratitude for the lifelong friendships and connections I was building with my course mates. When I returned home, I started truly expressing gratitude towards my family and friends, and now know that it is super important to remind myself of all the little things that makes our lives so beautiful. Gratitude.
Resilience. The feeling of accomplishment after gaining a new skill became the elixir I needed to face mentally and emotionally difficult days. Days when we hiked for miles on end or paddled to shores that never seemed to be getting any closer. A moment I will never forget was the day that we paddled to Blue Gum Beach on Tomales Bay during a rainstorm. I was more exhausted than I've ever been, and I felt as if I was not only letting myself down, but my paddling partner as well. I realized that there would never be a finish line when it comes to growing and challenging myself. I discovered something I could never really quite express before my trip. I discovered resilience.
Thank you, fellows, for each one of your qualities that is each special in its own way, but when combined together, it makes for an ETC course. And it makes for something magical. Actually, let me try to show you. All right. ETC Cadabra. It was supposed to explode. ETC Cadabra. Okay, oh, of course, yes. ETC Youth Fellows, those were your qualities. I need your help. Please join me in saying ETC Cadabra, and in the count of 3, something magical will happen. Okay, 1, 2, 3. ETC Cadabra. Oh, of course. How, okay. Of course, okay, don't worry, I got it. This isn't possible without the help of our donors, our volunteers, and our friends. So come on. I know it's silly, but think about it. You'll never have to do this again, so. In the count of 3, ETC Cadabra. Everyone, you see, even the magic's starting, so come on. 1, 2, 3. ETC Cadabra! Woo! Something magical did happen. Yes.
Wow. Thank you all for getting me out of that box. Hi, you guys. My name is Lisbeth Torres. I am 17 and I am a junior at Hayward High. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister, and I live with my mother. She is hardworking and resilient, and I will tell you more of her story in a bit. I met ETC through Summer Search. They connected me to the 14-day Young Women's course. At the beginning of my course, I got really homesick, but I persevered and eventually got over it. The biggest highlight of my trip was meeting new people I made a true connection with. They became like a new family. When I finally saw my family the day of the graduation, I felt like $1,000. Let me tell you why. When I first met all the girls on my course, I felt scared and nervous about what they would think of me. Would they like me? Would they think I was mean? You see, I am a really shy person by nature, and people sometimes think that I am aloof. That started to change when I realized we were all strangers and in the same boat. I mean, kayak. In council, I listened to the life stories and struggles of all the other girls on my course, and I realized that everyone had pain in their lives and was healing. We were all healing together as a team. While backpacking in Point Reyes with my really heavy pack filled with clothes, food, my sleeping bag, a tent, and pots, I was challenged and often exhausted. Coming back from the ocean on our last 11-mile day, I thought I would never make it. The trail seemed never ending, but I busted through all those self-doubts. And I did it. I was really proud. We did it together. Although there were only 11 of us, it felt like we were 2,000 strong. Today, I feel true happiness. Happiness I haven't felt since my dad left me, since I was burdened with the stress of worrying about my family. Happiness I haven't felt since I was 9. Now I need to go back and tell you a little more about my family. My mother's name is Luz Perez. Luz means light. My mom has truly been a guiding light for me. She grew up in Tijuana, Mexico, with 8 brothers and sisters. She fell in love, got pregnant, and got married. When she was 8, almost 9 months pregnant, she realized if she came to the United States, her unborn child, my brother, would have a chance. Not only would he be a US citizen, but he would have better opportunities in life. She covered her pregnant belly with a blanket and crossed the border. Then, with my 2-month-old brother in her arms, she returned to Tijuana, Mexico, and began to rebuild her life. Eventually, she met Francisco, my dad. My dad was one of the best and worst things that happened to our family. Best because my mom had me and my sister. And worse because what came after was pain and abuse. Once my sister was born, my dad began to distance himself from the family. We didn't know what was going on. But let me just say, it turned out that he had secret lives and 2 secret wives. Not having a dad around was difficult. Francisco was really unreliable. He would get mad and storm out for weeks on end. By the time I was 9, he was mostly out of our lives. Then my grandma died, and my mom fell into a deep depression. My absentee father tried to get custody of us kids, but my mom pulled herself together and she fought for us. I was young and began to disconnect and isolate myself. By the time I was in junior high, I was a total mess. I began skipping classes, and I didn't care about my school, my future, or those around me. I felt abandoned, and I started hanging out with the wrong people. After 2 long years of not caring, I too was depressed. Then came high school. I thought that my friends were true, but they didn't really care about me. At the beginning of freshman year, I realized that the next 4 years would be the last chance to be a teenager. And that turned on a light in my brain. I was determined to give it my all. And I made an about face. I started caring about my life and my family. And I just picked myself up and my grades and started getting 4.0s. My mom noticed a change in me too and began to feel proud. This meant the world to me because I had seen all the struggles that she had gone through, and I wanted her to be proud of me. She could have given up on herself and on us, but she fought for her family. This empowered me to fight for myself. I want to take a brief moment to thank my mother for the person that I have become today. If I'm being honest, I don't know where I'd be without her. Will you all please join me in thanking her tonight? Mom. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Even though I was working hard in school, I still felt disconnected and socially awkward, and I didn't know how to reach out to my peers. It was at this time that Summer Search came to my school. Listening to this really intense lady, I saw an opportunity to explore the world and maybe myself. I saw a chance to get out of my shell. I was nervous that I would not be able to have my phone for two whole weeks, but I took the leap. I joined ETC's All Young Women's course. I learned to kayak and camp and backpack. And to my surprise, I was even able to shower once. Having time away to unplug from my phone was hard but healthy. You see, I shelter myself with my phone, looking down all the time, checking who has texted me, who has tweeted, who likes, who doesn't. Wow. I could actually look up to see the ocean, to see the starry sky and the smiling faces of my new friends. I was learning to connect to nature and to my peers. I felt my deep wounds beginning to heal. During my solo time, I was scared to be alone in nature. I was scared of my own thoughts. But with time alone, I felt something new. I felt closure. I had moved past a really difficult chapter of my life and had begun a new one. After my trip, I was inspired to join ETC's Youth Lead Fellowship. I was not sure I could do it, but I saw a change was happening in me. I felt like a little fledgling bird making its way out of its nest, so I took that leap again. My dream is to one day become a pediatrician because I want to help heal children. This is something I've always held as a vision. Even though some people look at me like that's impossible, I know I can do it because I've overcome so many obstacles in my life. I have begun preparing for this by taking rigorous science classes. I aspire to be a role model for young girls like me. I want to continue growing as a leader at ETC because they have played an important role in my life. They are like my family. I want to thank you all for supporting ETC, and especially Youth Lead. This program is really important for teens like me. It gives us a chance to connect to nature and to new discoveries about ourselves, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Your gifts provide access to students like myself, youth whose families don't have the financial capability for programs like this. I have learned so much at ETC, and I am now ready to live my life more on the edge of my seat. Thank you again for all the support you have provided ETC.